in the same place today.
I love it.
So you're going to see a lot more of us together soon.
Yes.
Because you'll be up here permanently.
I'm moving.
Yay.
Yes. Shop local, support local, be local.
Yeah.
And then I can be here because you've got the cool background, you've got the cool lights. I'll set up and I love it.
Yeah, we look a lot better with these lights. So, so that's cool. That's in about a month, right?
In about a month, yeah. So the last 2 weeks have been focused on getting my current house ready to sell. And that is not for the faint of heart. It is not. If you've lived in a house for a very long time, I encourage you to look through your stuff.
Yeah.
Do not keep stuff and push things in the back of closets because that's what's happened. And it just takes so much time. And then we ended up in a world where, okay, so we're done.
Yeah.
And now we have to stage it.
Yeah.
And now I can't live in my house.
I hate staging because it's so stupid. Like people walk into your house thinking that your house looks like that. Like who can look like that when they tell you to hide the remotes? You know, hide your cords and remotes. Well, that doesn't happen in this world. So
that's what I was joking with. So literally they took photos and I had to hide the cords. So like a keyboard, I had to hide the cords under the keyboard. I'm like, because if they see a cord, they're not going to buy the house. Oh my God, you live with cords. How could you be so ridiculous that you live with cords?
This crazy.
It's a ridiculous world, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's getting close. It is going to be for sale as of today. And let's hope for a speedy sale so that I can move up here.
Yeah. So we talked last time on Hot Topics really about the fact that September really was a good time to start over or reinvigorate yourself or do something. Treat it like it is the new year. Don't wait till January. And so on that same topic, we were basically thinking about, well, why don't we talk about some of the things, current trends that are going on so that if you're like, where do I start or what should I focus on? It's a great opportunity for you to take one of those things and go, okay, this is a current trend. It's going to happen for the year ahead. Let's go ahead and do it. Now we do.
Or incorporate it into your business to understand what consumers are looking for when they're looking to work with a business.
Yeah. And Stacy usually does top social media trends and stuff in January. So we will continue that.
Yeah, I will.
But right now it's really about understanding. We're giving you specifics so that you can focus on it for the next couple of months, right?
Exactly. So trend number 1, we've talked about it a lot. I mean, you're not even going to guess this one.
It's AI, right?
And more AI.
Robots are your best friend.
Yeah.
It is. Every day we turn around and new stuff happens. So if you're watching this live, you will know that Apple had their great reveal the other day.
That was fun.
Yes. And so the new iPhone, the new AirPods, the new watch, and so many cool things all related to AI, right? So the big thing is customization. It's things that you didn't even think about. Like what I really got to me on one of the things was the fact that the watch can now monitor you for sleep apnea.
That was very cool. Yeah.
Right?
So
and
all the health. Yeah.
Really cool. Health. And then the AirPods.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Working like a hearing aid.
Yeah. Or be able to determine the settings that you need based on your input in regards to your own audio needs. So that was just really cool as well. And the phones are built for AI.
Yeah.
That's the really cool. So AI obviously is not going away. Is AI not only integrated, but these were built for AI.
Yes.
Which is
really cool. Many cool things. And we're not going to go into everything, obviously, because this is just a trends topic. However, the important key takeaway is the fact that AI on a daily basis is changing on a daily basis. So if you've not even explored, you can go to our hub, go to the hub.mastermind city and check out our free training on AI. That's a great place to start. Yeah. You need to at least jump in and do some basics. Why is this important if you're selling widgets or you're a coach? It's because all of that is changing so that you need to start incorporating that into your business and being aware of what other people have in their business so that people, when they come to you, they're like, well, why would I do this when you haven't really done anything?
Yeah. I think it's getting to the point that AI has moved so fast that somebody who's not using it is looking like they're behind.
Yeah.
And that changed fast.
Really fast.
So that one was
every day, guys. Every single day is changing. So we are constantly talking about AI in Hot Topics and in our weekly coaching. So we have taught a lot of our clients the latest and greatest tools to make their lives so much easier in terms of really growing, promoting their business. So there's a ghost here.
Scared me.
So if you haven't, again, already done so, now's the time. Jump in, try some
Embrace.
stuff, get your feet wet.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Absolute. Trend number 2, it was actually interesting. I always, with trends and stuff like that on different groups, people are saying, I've just lost my job, or my job is now requiring me to come into the office. What do? I would like to start my own gig.
Yeah. So the gig economy is still here. What does that mean? Freelancers, right?
Yep.
You want to do something on the side. It's no longer called a side hustle. Hustle isn't a good word for Gen Z people. Not a good word, but it is trying to start something on the side or leaving your job and doing something. The growth of Fiverr and Upwork and the rest of those is insane.
Yeah.
You know, we had a job to do. We needed some coding done, and we're pretty good at all that, but there were some little things that we didn't get. So we had a couple of quotes, and they were very expensive. It was like start at $500 and up. And so I went to Fiverr and we got it done for $40. So
game changer.
Yeah.
Like putting yourself out there. If you have a skill or talent or anything like that, putting it out there and kind of saying, I can do this is huge, because again, people don't want to spend their time doing something that's not their specialty.
No.
Right? So something that if you find it really easy, we'd be willing to pay you to do it, because we could have learned it, but what's the point?
And so think about that in terms of, you know, we just told you how inexpensively we could do something. So you have to look at your business as well. And we knew this was a trend and we were looking at it. And so we used to do one-off pricing for our courses, which were very expensive because there's a lot of information and a lot of learning in there. And then we decided last year, we took 2 trends, one of the ones we're going to talk about in a minute, but we kept our prices really low so that you could go ahead and access our information and be able to get up and running without having to spend a ridiculous amount of money. The days of $2,000, $3,000 programs are over. So if that's where your head is at, you need to flip that and understand that it is a lot easier to get information. So your information has to be customized, has to be personalized, whatever your take on something is, and you have to give it out as a decent price.
Yeah, make it accessible.
Yeah.
That's the big thing, because if somebody were to take their time, you could technically Google or watch YouTube and learn almost all of it.
Yeah.
The difference is when it's packaged in a certain way to be able to have it easily accessible and easy to follow, actionable items, all of that stuff, which ours are, then it becomes a place where people are going to go as a resource, basically.
Yeah, I just saw someone's ad on Instagram, and it was a cool little program, young guy, and it was $27. And I was looking at the modules, and I could go find all of this stuff on YouTube, but I don't think I'll buy it.
Not
for
packaged in that way. Yeah, exactly.
So same with ours. We have so much information, and you can just log right into us for like $47 a month.
Yeah. Done.
Like, so, you know, that's a great investment. So again, gig economy, if you're thinking about doing something on your own, now is the time. It is not saturated. No. It never will be. More and more people will go into it. So keep that in mind.
Whether it's something you want to do or whether you want something done for your business, is hiring somebody who has that gig versus some of the bigger companies that kind of do a little bit of everything. You can hire that one-off person to do that one-off job, which is amazing. Okay. So, the next trend we want to talk about, which I think is really important if you are in a business or as a consumer, people are really looking at that sustainability story now more than ever. So again, if you're a product-based business, what is that sustainability story around the products that you are creating? And if you're an online business, where is your sustainability story in regards to how you're doing business? And consumers are looking at that as something important in regards to the products and services that they need.
Yeah, I mean, eco warriors and green is everywhere. I have been watching so much, and I've been, doing so much with that. Now I'm always conscious of when I'm buying something. What do I know about this product? Like, is it really okay? Is it really good for me? And then I go back and do the research. So if you are in any of that product categories, that's where your USP, your unique selling proposition is. That's where your advantage is. So don't don't think that people aren't watching. The new generation are watching
Yes.
more and more. And I'll give you a good example. I watch a lot of eco documentaries and stuff. And so what do? As soon as I unfortunately, I text everybody I know with the links, and that link goes to all my kids.
Yeah.
And so those kids will know when they're, 20 years old, about what they should be doing, what they should be using. So they're going to grow up with understanding those things. So you really need to be conscious of it. And I think it's really important for yourself, for your family, for your environment.
Absolutely. Back in my corporate days, I worked for an organization that was very focused on their sustainability messaging and their sustainability initiatives. But back then, 100 years ago, they had to basically tell people that the environment was important.
Right.
This is why we have a sustainability message. So not only do we have one, but here's why a company needs it. And they were on the forefront of that, which is great. Now, fast forward a million years, now it's just part of everything.
Yeah.
Right? Like the kids that are growing up today, that's their focus. They want to learn about the environment. They want to understand it. And everything that they shop for, they're now looking for that. So that is basically a trend if you're going to be going forward with, again, with products specifically.
So I'll tell you a really interesting story for me, because I think this was kind of, I think most people can relate. I watch a lot of these shows. So I was on Netflix and I was watching, you guys are watching, Zac Efron did a series on, I can't remember what the name of it is, but it was all about finding, health and wellness stuff around the world. And he did one on water, and it was mainly done in France. But they had a water sommelier, and he was talking about all the different waters and everything, and the difference of levels and what you can get from stream versus the ones that are chemically done in cities. And so I kind of went, wait a minute, I buy water that's supposed to be healthy, right? In a jug. I don't use the tap water, even though our water is not from the city. So I'm like, I always thought it was not so great. And then I realized that it's actually really good.
Yes.
So, and then I went and checked the company that I buy the jugged water from, and it was really fantastic too. And I was like, well, okay, I don't mind buying it now because it costs money. Then I started looking even more, and there is a free stream water in 20 minutes from my house that has been in all the reports labeled like one of the best waters in the world.
Wow.
And I have not been filling up my jugs for free. So I learned all that because I watched this show. Right. But I never questioned what I was buying or questioned if there was anything close by. But now that I had that information from learning it, I started looking into it. So that's what you can learn and do by understanding something. Then you might be able to go, hey, there's might be a business opportunity here. Right?
Exactly.
Or how can I blend it into my business? So
that's cool. That's very cool.
It is cool.
That's awesome. Already kind of alluded to this one, but obviously with the biggest fall trend of now the pandemic's over, right? And businesses, especially corporations, are now saying you need to come back to work. And people are saying, no, I don't want to. So I think there's a little bit of a trend.
Yeah.
Number one of, you know what, we're working from home. We've proved the model. We want to continue working from home. So that pushback is coming with, if the businesses are going to say you have to work from home, this is now where, you know what, well, maybe I don't want to stay with your company. Find somebody else. Yeah. I'll do my own gig.
It's huge.
So that's kind of a combo trend there.
And working from home, again, is not leaving, as Stacey said, because people are just saying no. Even though companies are like, you have to come in 3 days a week, they're deciding not to.
Yeah.
Like, they'll just say, you're going to lose me then, which is fine. Yeah. But again, why is this important? Not for you to just go out to your boss and say, I'm working from home.
I want to stay in my pajamas.
It is so you understand that there is business opportunities there as well, right? Like, so what do these people need that work from home? What are they looking for? What's trending that is not needed? I mean, the whole business attire thing is going way, people aren't going to the office. They don't need as many clothes. They don't need the suits and the shirts and everything else that you used to spend most of your paycheck on. That's a change. So what is it that they need? Right. What techs, what anything is. So think about what you offer or what you could offer and really how it can change.
Absolutely. And speaking of shopping, good segue.
Yeah.
So, they don't have to wear as many clothes, right? They don't have to go to a store and shop. But what's even more fun than going to a store and shopping? Shop until you drop from your couch.
Yeah, and that's not changing. And I can't even remember the last time my immediate thought now is, let me check Amazon. Anytime I need something, it's like, let me go online, because we just don't need to get out there.
Or how do I buy it online? Like just before we hopped on, Faye was showing me a shop that was on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. But that's our brains now, right? Like if we couldn't do that, she would try to explain it to me. We'd have to make time. We'd have to go, whatever. And she could show me in an instant, and we can buy instantly. So I think that whole concept of shopping online, people aren't scared anymore.
No,
we're not scared of sizing. The sizing charts have gotten really amazing in regards to just sort of measurements. Things are coming true to size. Things are showing up faster to your house. And it's just so easy. Yeah. Like I think about, I have to go buy something and I'm like, I don't want to go to the store. No. And that's for everything. Not just clothing, but absolutely everything. My first instinct now is click the button. And now I have my Amazon Alexa saying, 3 months ago, you bought your refrigerator filter. It's time for a refill. Yeah. Would you like to put it in your cart?
It's great.
Yes. Would you like to buy it? Yes.
Yeah.
That is while I'm making breakfast. Yeah. Like it's insane.
And think about now how else you can utilize that, because the fact is we're telling you that people are shopping from the couch. So that means, why are you going out? You usually go out for experience. Right? Not to buy stuff. So you go out to a certain store or whatever because there's an experience there that you like. So when, as a retailer, you have to go, okay, why would somebody want to come see me? Why would they actually want to come to the shop? When, the truth is it's a lot cheaper as a retailer to work online. We have been working on our e-com for a while now. We'll be ready to launch in we're doing it in September, so it'll be coming up soon. So we're going to show you what we did. We're going to show you our stores. Yeah. And we're also, for those of you who are in our community, we will be doing a live mastermind on setting up your e-com and drop shipping as well. So
what all that looks like.
Why are we setting it up? Because we know that's the trend. We know that's how we like to shop. And so why not do the same for everybody else, right?
Yeah, and just to go back to the Apple event, the fact that I could take a picture of your shoes and say, where can I buy it? Yeah. Click and buy. Yeah. Like that's the other piece, right? Like we think about that technology and then bringing it into the other trend of shopping online. So if your stuff isn't online, it's going to be very difficult for people to find.
Even with anything you sell, services, courses, you name it. People want to be able to click, buy, and that's done. Not have to go through, no offense, a million funnels, because we teach funnels, right? But now the funnels are getting small and condensed, and people want to be able to buy right away
and access right away. Yeah, no more hoops.
No more wait till this. If you can get live trainings, right? No problem. If you're learning something, that's great. We do live masterminds, but we only do two things. We do live masterminds and coaching, and then we do on-demand programs. Right. So nobody wants to wait, and we're adding even more to our on-demand programs. You guys are going to see that soon, but we're making it even easier for you to learn, because that is the new trend as well in terms of learning, and you have to embrace it. So schools have to get on board, because the students are doing it for themselves, and education needs to catch up.
Absolutely. And businesses, going into trend number 6, businesses need to understand how the new generation, we call them the Gen Zs, how they are doing business and what's important to them, how they shop, how they interact with business, and hiring somebody and what they bring to the table and the expectation that they have working within a business.
And what's fascinating to me is, because we have Gen Z, both of us, what's happening to us is that what we're seeing is how different they are. They're interested in the environment and sustainability. Yep. They are very focused on their experiences and what's important to them. And it's really interesting because when you talk to somebody who's much older, they don't understand. Like they look at the Gen Z as being lazy or not motivated, and they are not. They just, their priorities are very different.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that that's that priority difference, because they don't care about being with a company for 30 years. They don't really care about the huge benefits. They don't care about 9 to 5. They want to work so that they can enjoy their life. And I got to hand it to them.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, they do things, just because they do things differently, it doesn't mean they're doing them wrong.
No.
And it doesn't mean that they're lazy. So for example, like I'll go to bed at 10, right? Well, my kid starts to do his homework at 11.
Yeah.
I can't help him with his homework. He does it until 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
His hours are different. His time in which he's more productive, I guess, is different. But that doesn't mean he's not getting his work done, because he's not doing it in the time that makes sense for me.
Yeah.
So I just think we need to change things like that and understanding their perspective.
Yeah.
Because again, they've been brought up understanding that the environment is important. They've been brought up with phones in their hands. They've been brought up with doing things online and texting and all of that kind of stuff. So there's a little bit of a shift in regards to all the aspects of your business when you're dealing with that next generation. Communication, like we've had many conversations that, you know, our kids don't really look at emails. Like we're sitting there going, you still need to look at your emails. Like people are trying to communicate with you in an email format, and they're like, well, when you need to get it by text.
Yeah.
So if your communication style is focused 100% on emails, you might be losing that next generation as well. So I think talking to them, learning from them, understanding what's important to them might help your business in understanding both your customer and if you're going to be hiring them in the future.
And they buy differently. So they are looking for, they expect when they look at something online and they buy it, they expect you to come up with, and this also goes with it, or this is a great resource. If you like this, you'll like this. That's how they grew up.
Yep.
So they know that they just click, 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 and it's perfect, and they want it and they get it. So you have to understand that that's how you need to sell your product to them, right? Or your service. And you have to make it very simple and basic, right? They don't want big, huge, fancy landing pages and a million different funnels. They want it simple. They want to be able to click. They want to get the information they want. They are YouTube babies, right? They know they can get everything on YouTube. They can get everything on TikTok, and they can get everything on Instagram. And then the other ones, Snapchat and whatever that I don't use. So,
but you know what else they can get from YouTube and TikTok? Stars.
Yeah.
Because we've talked a lot about influencers. Are they going away? Are they not going away? Well, guess what? They're here to stay. And who we see as stars, right? From, you know, TV and movies and all of that kind of stuff. Well, they go, well, hang on, I'm not really watching that show, or I don't watch TV unless it's streamed on some sort of service. They see the stars and go, yeah, I really know that guy from TikTok, or I really know that guy from YouTube.
They're the ones who are, they're shaping marketing.
Yeah.
So they are these influencers. So everyone thought influencers is going away a little bit. They're not. And so they're showing up on The Voice, on Dancing with the Stars, on SNL. So what happened just this last weekend? 3 of the SNL cast got let go. They brought in 3 extra people. One of them is a TikTok comedy star. I don't know who they are, but I'm sure if you ask any of our kids, they probably know them. So the old way of going through the system and working in Groundlings or Second City or eventually getting to is gone, because now we can find people on TikTok and go, this person will be great. And
they can showcase themselves, which is really cool.
So it's not going anywhere. They are the stars. So is it still important to get some of these influencers on your marketing team? Yes and no. You have to be careful, because the difference is it used to be like anyone could be an influencer, and you go after people with 1,000 people or something. Yeah,
followers.
Not as, I mean, you can still do it. It's just that the big ones, everyone knows, they're not going away. So they just, and you need, if you want to be one, you need a couple of really good videos, and you might end up, you never know what's going to hit That's the interesting
You might
thing.
end up on Dancing with the Stars.
You
No,
would.
but that's true, because when they release their cast, all of a sudden I'm looking and I'm like, okay, I know it. Who?
Yeah.
And a couple of them are from reality TV,
Yeah.
right? So reality TV, maybe even from The Bachelor or Bachelorette,
Yeah.
some of them. And where did they come from? Right? They're coming
Yeah.
through a different path
Totally
to
different.
becoming a star.
Yeah.
But yeah, like some of the kids, the younger, I won't say kids, they're kids to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, that younger generation, they know who they are. They understand. They're like, oh, I know who that is. That's really cool. And good for the TV shows that are bringing those guys on
Yeah.
as stars, because I think it brings in that younger generation. It makes them interested,
Yes.
as opposed to I'll consider us the older generation. We're
Yeah.
ancient according to the younger generation. The people that we know, it's not as interesting.
No.
Right? They have to do something. So influencers are definitely not going away.
Yeah.
And just because you don't know who they are, I would encourage you to Google them and go check them out, because they probably have a big following.
Yeah.
Which would be really cool.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the different dynamics. So yeah, they're not going away. They're staying here, and talk to your kids.
Okay, two more. Number 9 trend for the fall is kind of what we've already alluded to, which is accessing everything in one spot, which is why streaming services like Netflix and all of those ones are so popular, because it's a one-time fee. Or not a one-time, but a
monthly
subscription.
fee. It's
Yeah.
a subscription.
I'm not paying to watch this show. I'm not paying to watch this show. I'm paying to watch and have access
To everything.
to absolutely everything, which is why we created the membership that we created in our hub, so that you can log in with one subscription fee, one membership fee, and watch everything.
And here's the cool thing about this. I mean, most of us pay our subscriptions once a month, right?
Yeah.
That's our, or you could do an annual subscription if it's a little bit cheaper, but once a month. So you pay your fee, and then if you don't want it anymore, you just cancel.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what no one wants to invest a lot of money and then watch something and then never, that's it. That's all they get.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, I can watch everything I want. Do all the courses if it's a course thing, watch all the TV shows or movies, and not worry about getting stuck that you can't afford it anymore. Right. And it's cheaper. Everything's getting cheaper. Streaming's a little bit, they're raising their prices a little bit, but that's because they were cheap to begin with. Right. Yeah. So it is, if you do a service or courses and you don't have a subscription model, you need to change that.
Yeah.
So we have our subscription model, and you can pay monthly or yearly, either way, but it's very inexpensive, so much less than we used to charge, because that's the nature.
That's
of
the trend.
industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's what you want to watch when you want to watch it and that, like I said, that's been with the streaming services forever. Good job. Netflix for starting that world.
Yeah.
Blockbuster died because they didn't want to embrace.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's really showing my age when I talk about Blockbuster.
Yeah, I know.
But they didn't want to embrace that, right? They wanted you to pay per thing. And business followed suit as well. And the people, I just haven't seen it now. I have not seen a course for sale.
Well,
it's been a long time.
I got to tell you, I just saw one today.
Really?
I just saw one today, and it was like, I went on because I was like, it's nothing that I'm interested in. It was for someone else. And I went on, and she was charging $2,000. And I felt like I wanted to send her an email going,
Did you not
it's
get
not
the
going to
memo?
work anymore. You got to go backwards. You got to go back to
Yeah.
make it inexpensive and make it accessible. And the fact is that, again, the Gen Z aren't interested in big, fancy, expensive things, because they know they can access that information. So
they also know they can access what they want when they need it. Because they're like, if they want to watch something, or if they want to learn something, they're not going to wait for it to come out. They're not going to wait. Like, that's why Netflix now drops an entire season, because they know that we don't want to wait anymore. We want to watch the next episode. We want to get to the end.
Yeah.
And the younger generation is coming in saying, this is what we need out of businesses when we want something. Again, all of these trends, right? I want to buy when I want to buy. I want to do that digital shopping. I want to go here. I want to learn what I want to learn. So,
and if you look at some of the big online marketers, and like we consider ourselves doing very well, everyone has done the same thing.
Yeah.
So everyone has lowered their prices and did subscriptions. And I just saw one this morning I was shocked it was so inexpensive. because this person had always charged a lot of money. And I was just like, wow, like they understand that no one's buying the other way anymore.
No, it's true.
And I bought a ton of very expensive programs.
Oh my God, I don't want to think about the amount.
And we spent a lot of money, and we made money on
Exactly.
expensive programs too. So, but you can't hide and pretend it's not going to happen, because the truth is you have to move.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I know I said last time there was 2, but actually I changed my mind and I've decided to do 2 now. So I miscounted, but that's okay because I'm trying to remember them all in my brain. But the second last trend number 9, which is a big one that we've been talking about for a long time and incorporating into our business. And we've talked about it when it comes to just everything about your business, everything about your health, everything about your wellness, everything works together. And you can't really have a healthy business if you're not taking care of yourself as well. They do go hand in hand, which is why mental health, wellness, all of that is so important when it comes to increasing and focusing on your business goals.
Yeah. And it's you see it everywhere. Yeah. You're a TikToker, you see, here's what lemons will do for you today. Here's what, everything you try. There's a million people selling supplements and programs and exercise and wall Pilates and you name it. Like you get all these things. But the truth is, at the end of the day, people are more interested, especially the Gen Z. They're focused on themselves and getting better. And so it's really important that you embrace that and understand it. And how you can do that is to learn, right?
Yep.
We have health and wellness programs within our community, and you can find some of them on our YouTube channels. And there's so many resources out there, but you have to look after yourself. You have to get yourself in really good shape. And I don't mean physically, I mean everything, whether it's mental or emotional or whatever it takes. But you have to do that in order to move your business along. But there's two-sided, right? Get better for yourself, for your family, and then what can you do to provide the same type of things for other people who are looking for it? Everyone wants to feel better, right?
Yep.
Everyone wants to reboot. So what can you do? What path can you show them to get there? Really, really important.
Absolutely. I mean, I just think whether you're on the corporate side and maybe you're feeling a little burnt out and you're sort of going through the whole thing, or on the entrepreneurial side, sometimes we joke that we work 1,000,000 hours so that we don't have to work, 40 for somebody else. But understanding your own needs, the balance, the lifestyle, the flexibility, like I said, the Gen Zs, they're actually getting better at the flexibility and understanding when their productive times are, when they can do what they need to do, and building in their own personal time so that they don't end up like our generation.
And trying to get healthy now.
Exactly.
Because you killed yourself for the first
for so many years.
20 years of your career. You just didn't care about your health because you only cared about ensuring your job was okay. And so now we're kind of suffering for it, right? You're kind of going, okay. It was interesting. I'll give you an example. I went to see an osteopath the other day, and I asked him what kind of his clients were. Were they more sports guys and stuff? And he's like, no, actually, they're former sports people. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, well, they might be in their 60s now, but when they were, in their teens and 20s, they were athletes, right? They were football players and baseball players, and all those injuries, because they didn't really look after themselves then, are manifesting now. Whereas the newer generation of athletes, what are they doing? They have all this health care. They're looking after themselves. They don't do anything that they shouldn't. They're hurt. They sit out. You know what I mean? They're looking after themselves and prioritizing themselves. They're not getting concussions like, the other guys who used to, I know.
Or they take that time. If they do get it, they're actually following those protocols because we've learned. Yeah. Right? We've learned what happens on the other end. That these guys are knowing that, okay, well, when I'm 60, I don't want to be like that. Yeah. I don't want to be, going to, all these medical professionals to get my body working the way it needs to. So bringing in that, and it's just that balance. So how are you going to be incorporating all the mental health awareness, the wellness, the physical wellness, all of that stuff, both in your business and showcasing that? And I think that just brings it all back to like social media. We don't just always want to see the business side. What are you doing on the other side? That actually is helping you be a better version of you. I mean, phase posting daily, supporting the local places that you're going, but also showcasing the different classes that you're doing. You're getting a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And that's just simply from a physical and mental health and wellness
We
perspective.
decided this year was the year that we needed to step back and prioritize on this stuff that we kept saying we don't have time for. And and this time we did it. Started in January. We did it. We started with our Life Map Navigator course that we run every January. And that's really to map out everything you want in your life, in your business, everything. And then stick to that plan in that year. And we did. We stuck to the plan. And it's manifesting like exactly how we wanted it to, which is fantastic. So there is a reason for us when you see posts of what we're doing or where we're going or how we're feeling. It's not because I just want to overshare, because that's not who I am. I don't do that at all. But I do two reasons. One is to help maybe motivate somebody else to do the same. And the other is to promote local businesses, whoever you are in your area, that provide those type of services, to say, give them a shout out and go, you know what, you guys are doing a great job. And, more people should go to them or prioritize themselves. And, I have not prioritized myself for a long time, and I've had a lot of responsibilities, still do. And this year I decided I couldn't do that anymore. I still have the same responsibilities, but what I did was recognize that I had more time than I thought, right? I had more time than I thought. And so I decided to change the schedule and the rhythm of how I was living a daily life. You guys can learn that too if you want to come into Life Map Navigator. If you come into our courses, it's there. Yeah. Otherwise, you can join us live in January for it as well.
Awesome. All right. Okay, very last. I know we've talked about a lot of trends, but I just want to sum this up. We've talked about how things have changed. We talked about digital world and membership and how the Gen Zs are changing sort of how the landscape of being in business, just in regards to how they view the world and all that kind of stuff. So the last trend we just want to sort of touch on is about how do you actually lead and how do you be a leader in the world of today when you have different perspectives coming in, you have a younger generation that does things differently. The focus is, again, on that balance of business and health and wellness and digital and the changing landscape of all of that kind of stuff. It's changing along with everything else.
And you have to change with it. So in order to be a leader, you have to change with it. Yeah. So if you believe you are a thought leader, if you believe you are a leader in your community, whatever it is, you need to understand those changes, right? So you need to either do the research, join a community. Again, you can certainly join ours. We're on the cutting edge in terms of what's happening in the marketplace, what's happening in the world, essentially. But you need to understand that and start embracing that change so you can learn the skills. So again, the first thing, embrace AI. It's not going anywhere.
It's starting right at the beginning when we talked about it. It's not going anywhere. And if you're going to be a leader, that needs to be part of what you do.
So, and then the other piece is simple. If you want to be a leader and you want to inspire this new generation, or you're part of that new generation, you need to understand how everyone is different and how things are progressing with them. What do they value? Where do they see themselves in 10 years? How is the world changing in terms of all the dynamics around you? If you don't understand that, you cannot be the leader that you want to be. And I'm not only talking about a leader in social media, your business. I'm talking about a leader for your family, for your children, right? Mm-hmm. For your community. Like you might be a small community, and maybe you only really are working in your local community services like a church or whatever. You can, if you embraced AI, you could take those techniques and bring them into that business. You can bring them into your community. You can figure out ways to improve the lives and the businesses of everyone around you. But you can't do that unless you're willing to embrace that change and maybe not just watch Netflix in your spare time.
Right. But also understanding, again, like we said before, communication styles, understanding the needs of all the different generations. I know we focused a lot on the newer generation, the younger generation, but who you want to lead, right? Understanding them. And I think that's where it's like, I'm a leader, do this. No, I'm a leader. come with me. I understand. I've been there. I've done that, using your experiences and your story, but also understanding the trends and really following them and knowing where the world is today so that you can relate it to all the different people that you're trying to lead.
And being open to those different generations, because the one thing that we keep seeing over and over again is, boomers or Gen X saying, oh, these guys are lazy, and Gen Z looking at boomers or Gen X and saying, all you guys ever did was work. You never really looked after us. We were latchkey kids. It is so different. And neither side is correct. It's just a blend, right? But you need to understand their perspective. It's just as important for Gen Z to understand why your parents worked so hard, why they were loyal to a company, why they got up at 5 a.m. to take a train downtown to work all day and be home for an hour, but that was their life. Just like Gen X looks at their parents, and I don't even know what that generation is.
Boomers.
No, older than boomers.
Silent generation.
Silent generation. They look at those who are, I assume, in their 80s and 90s now, and can't even contemplate what they went through.
Yeah.
Right? So it's really a fascinating time. And if you're a Gen Z or older, Gen X and older, you can't look at the new generation and feel like, oh, well, they don't get it. They didn't have to put in their time and all that. Yeah, they didn't, because it's a different world. Just like the silent generation is saying about everybody else, saying these guys had it easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Every generation always says the generation before has easier. And yes.
Yeah.
And they should.
That's the whole goal of evolution, of the changing world, that we want people to have better quality of life, right? You want your children to have it easier.
And then you complain when it's easier for them.
So don't do that. That's not cool, right? That's not cool. And just because you did it a certain way, it doesn't mean that they have to. And there's one person I know that we always argue because they don't get it. Yeah. They don't understand this generation at all. And I'm like, you don't have to even understand it, as long as you accept that things change.
And things are different.
Yeah. So just like we had to accept that business changed. And instead of saying, oh, no, we can't do it that way, we embraced it and moved along. Exactly.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. Those are your top 10 trends for the fall. We'll be back in January with the top 10 social media trends, but we will see you next week with